So it was about a half an hour before the Zoom for the NFL Network, NFL Game Day morning meeting on Saturday, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. And this was a big one, 6 hours long. I mean, the rundown was very long. We had about 15, 20 people involved all around. Calais Campbell's coming into town. He's a very large human being. And a half hour right before it, Adam Schefter tweeting out, per him and Jeff Darlington, Tom Brady's retiring. And on the spot, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Which is, again, a testament to Tom Brady and his incredible greatness, that I'm shocked that a 44-year-old is retiring. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he's got so many great years left.
But
he says, I'm a 44-year-old. I know. I know. And I'm like, I felt immediately just disappointed. And I felt empty because my entire existence with the NFL Network has been through the prism of Tom Brady's career. We came on the air in November of 2003 as Brady was in the midst of his third regular season as starter, trying to win his second Super Bowl, which he eventually did. Then the next year, the Patriots went back-to-back. First 2 Super Bowls NFL Networks ever covered. And my reaction was similar to so many others, being total shock and taking Brady's decision to retire as personal. Everybody did. I always started posting pictures of my kids wearing Brady jerseys at the Super Bowl in Arizona when my 13-year-old was 7, my 10-year-old was about to turn 4, and Brady was a 37-year-old about to win his first of 4 more Super Bowls. Right?
That's so silly.
Honestly, and it's kind of like the passage of time. That's the way you view generationally incredible American athletes, or just athletes maybe around the world. And the crazy thing is so many other people felt the same way. I got texts like, is it true? From everybody I know in the Boston area. Is it really true? Is he really gone? And is he going to go? Like, is this really true? And I kind of thought to myself, isn't it interesting that we all looked at it about ourselves when Brady's entire career was very rarely about him? He retires as one of the greatest teammates, one of the greatest winners in a team sport. Never took the most money, right? Never took the most money. He could have made an insane amount of money, more than the insane amount of money he had earned, if he had made sure the Patriots paid him as the number 1 quarterback in the league every single time it was his contractual right to leverage it. And he never did. Always talked about, you speak to any teammate and they refer to him as Tommy. Okay? Tommy. We know him as Tom, right?
Yeah, you always hear him introducing himself to rookies, like, hey, I'm Tom. Thanks for coming on the team.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, I know who you are.
Right. And so it's amazing. He never really, the only time he ever made it about himself is when he decided to go to Tampa and say, I'm just going to do this for myself. And then has the greatest second act that you could possibly imagine because of his age. I know Peyton Manning had a second act and won a Super Bowl in Denver. I get it. But Brady leaves with having led the league in touchdowns and passing yards. I mean, at 44. Unless he's not leaving, which is amazing that this is the way it all started to play out, because as soon as this report came, everybody starts running for the hills to see if it's true. And then anybody who might have told our friends at ESPN about it starts running for the hills. Okay? The Twitter account for TB12 Sports that put out one of the many tweets, like I did, to wish him well, like an amazing career, whatever, that gets deleted. His agent, Don Yee, puts out a statement calling it all speculative, and that Tom knows this, the off-season schedule better than most, and the only person who can ever say it is him. I'm paraphrasing it. Mike Giardi, my colleague from NFL Network, speaks to Tom Sr., his father, who's basically saying he hasn't decided anything. The AP, puts out a report that Tom called the Bucs and told them he hasn't decided anything yet. Which means one of two things is true. As of right now, the Monday after Championship Sunday, at 10 minutes to 1 p.m. Eastern Time in Tampa, Florida, one of two things is true. One, he really hasn't decided. And somebody totally jumped the gun with Schefter and Jeff Darlington, who clearly had multiple sources tell them independently and then maybe collectively that this is true. And that Brady is somehow still thinking about it. Or two, the way it got out is absolutely not at all the way Tom Brady wanted it to get out. And he is now trying to lengthen the clock to the time when he wanted to say it in the manner in which he wanted it out there. The rumors are flying everywhere, folks. I will tell you, I heard everything this weekend from the fact that he recorded something that he's retiring, and it's going to come out on his social media accounts, and he's left the country, all right, and let that speak for itself and didn't want it out until either now, because it's between Championship Sunday and the Pro Bowl, or he's going to wait until after the Super Bowl because he doesn't want to upstage anything. I have no idea. The other rumor, which was insane, is that he recorded such a retirement announcement for the final segment of his stellar ESPN Plus show, Man in the Arena. Like, his show was going to end with him retiring. I heard that. And if that's the case, that means the news division scooped the digital division in Bristol. And this is all, what I am saying to you into this microphone is all speculation to give you the idea of what this all meant, certainly within the television broadcast world, as we're trying to put a rundown together for Sunday and also see what's what and what's true and what isn't. But the general sense of everybody collectively in our industry right now, I can't find one person who really is telling me outside of his inner circle that he's really still thinking about it. Everyone else is like, he is done, he is out, and it's just his manner of choosing that he wants to have after 22 years. So for that, I will refrain from just going all in on what Tom Brady's meant and his legacy, even though you'll really all know what it is anyway, but
I plead the fifth.
That's what it's going to, apparently, that could be tonight.
That's funny.
Because the next time you're supposed to hear from Tom Brady is his weekly podcast that he does with Jim Gray, who I don't know if there are any more all-time great GOATs who are going to tell him their decision. I don't know. I think he might. I don't know. Jim, you're running out of them.
Is Brady doing an hour special?
Apparently tonight. Apparently tonight. On his pod, Let's Go with Larry Fitzgerald and him and Jim Gray.
That airs on Sirius.
Apparently that is airing tonight, and all ears and eyes will be peeled on what is Tom going to say. Is he going to just basically say he's still deciding? I'm with my family. And then that'll be it. And then talk about how terrific Joe Burrow looked and Mahomes didn't, and and he's happy for Stafford and Big Ben's retiring.
Yeah, 7 Eastern, Rich, on Sirius Channel 82.
So there you go. So that's what's happening tonight, and thus we will reserve all further comments until we hear what Tom has to say tonight, if anything. But in the meantime, if he retires, two things. One, I think Gronk's going to retire because what better Canton party could there be than Tommy and Gronky together as first ballot Hall of Famers in 2027?
With Big Ben.
And, if I'm Big Ben, I'm going to come back and play one more game for the Steelers, take a knee, because I want my own day in the sun in Ohio, my home state of Ohio.
It's going to be.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, Rich.
It's Tom and Gronk And it's Big Ben,
And
too.
Ben
And Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
Featuring Ben
but you guys
Roethlisberger.
know the way Steeler fans travel the Hall of
I know.
Fames, it's Roethlisberger's going to have his day.
I know
though.
that. I know
That does not matter. Steeler fans will be there.
I know.
Maybe
They're
Rob
gonna-
Gronkowski
But they're
featuring
going to put Ben
Roethlisberger.
last so he goes up at like midnight.
I don't know, man. They have 6 years to perfect whatever that night's going to look like. If Tom is retired.
If.
I mean, you know how we always have fun with our news and information friends in our businesses. It's always like plans to, has no plans to, it's expected to. I mean, those words did the heaviest lift in the history of plans and expectedness this weekend. But that was, and that's what we did all day for 6 hours on game day morning, where we talked about it with Willie McGinnis too, down there in Tampa. I mean, he was in Kansas City for the AFC Championship game. It's just like, yeah, if this is it.
Meanwhile, Giselle's like, you're doing it right now.
Could be, wherever he is. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.